in obesity medicine, and I've been working in the weight management and wellness space for over 15 years. And I founded Healthy Lifeways, which is Valley's program for health and wellness, about 6 years ago. And I'm very passionate about this subject, and I am excited to talk to you guys about snacking today. So I just want to run through exactly what I'm going to be talking to you guys tonight, and then we'll get to the topic. So first of all, we're going to talk about what is a snack. I'm sure my idea of a snack is very different from your youngsters' idea of a snack. We're going to talk a little bit about my philosophy on food in general and, of course, snacking. We're going to talk about what the purpose of a snack is. We're going to talk about the difference between snacking at home and snacking away from home. We'll also talk about, is there a right time and are there right foods to be eating? And when we talk about the right foods, we're going to talk about some healthy swaps just to give you guys some ideas. We're also going to talk about the importance of practicing healthy snacking from early on. And we will finish with some recent studies about snacking. And then I will conclude and give you a summary, and we'll talk about a little acronym for you guys just to help you remember on some of the key points that we're going to talk about tonight. I just want to, before I begin, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to leave plenty of room at the end for questions. I'm more than happy to answer anything from my presentation, or if you guys have any other types of questions about snacking. So let's begin. Let's talk about what is a snack. So if you look up in the dictionary what a snack is, they would tell you that it is a small amount of food you eat between meals. It is not a meal, and it's supposed to hold you over until your next meal. And if you Google a snack, or I went on Amazon to see what snacks were available, you would most likely see all of these things, all the items in this picture. And you can see, I'm sure that your little ones can recognize many of these different foods. And this is really what's advertised to kids. And to be honest with you, we really condition our kids from early on that these items are what a snack is. And I think, this is something that we need to change. We need to change this philosophy that the highly processed foods are not, snacks that our kids should be eating. Our kids should really be eating more real food, but we'll get into that later. But I just wanted to make that point that our kids are just conditioned to think that when it's time for a snack, that these are the things that they should be eating. So let's just talk a little bit about my philosophy on snacking. So I believe that snacks are definitely part of a healthy lifestyle. We all know that there are 3 meals during the day, and I believe that there should be healthy snacks. I think snacking or snack time is a good opportunity to get in fruits and vegetable requirements. I want to talk a little bit about snacks. So people are always referring to snacks as a good snack or a bad snack. And I make this very early on in my practice. I tell my patients that there are no good foods, there are no bad foods. We don't want to ingrain the term bad food or bad snack into our kids, because what happens is the kids start thinking that they're bad if they eat a bad snack. So for example, if they are eating potato chips, or if they're eating cheese nips, or whatever a parent would refer to as bad, then the kids start feeling bad that they have eaten that snack, or guilty. And we don't want the kids to have any sort of thinking that they did something wrong by eating. So I usually refer to snacks as either a someday snack or an everyday snack. We don't talk about good or bad snacks, and it's something that I advise to all my patients, and I just actually advise that to all of you who are listening tonight. We don't want to have any food rules around snacks or any kind of forbidden snacks. And I think it's important that you teach your children that all foods and all snacks fit. But again, like I said a little earlier, there should be some snacks that are more of like an everyday snack, and then there should be some snacks that are more for like some days. I think it's really important that when talking to your children about snacks, that we want to raise healthy eaters and confident eaters. If your child is constantly being told that this isn't a good snack or that's not a good snack, then they start feeling they lack confidence and they start feeling bad about what they're eating. And we don't want that. We want to raise healthy eaters who have good relationships to foods and who have a positive outlook on their body. So, what is the purpose of a healthy snack? So, snacks should make you feel full in between meals. They should help with growth and obviously with health and boost energy. When you don't eat the right snacks, you run the risk of getting tired and feeling bloated and not feeling well. So let's first talk about snacking at home. And I'm going to talk about some key points that I want you all to keep in mind. So the first point is the environment where your child is snacking. So you really want to designate a snacking zone. I emphasize that I don't want my patients or anybody eating in front of a screen. So that means eating in front of a TV, eating in front of an iPad, eating in front of a phone. You want your child to sit down, to learn to sit down and eat their snack mindfully. Pay attention to what they're eating, remember what they're eating, make sure they're enjoying what they're eating, and really eating mindfully. It's really important. If your kid is not sitting down and is running around the house and running up and down the stairs, they're not going to remember eating and they're likely going to want to eat more. Another point that I think is really important is you want to serve your snacks on small plates because the bigger the plate you serve the food on, it looks like a small snack. And children, there's a lot of psychological reasons why children eat and eat too much. And one of them, I know it sounds silly, but it really makes a difference the size plate you serve your food on. So I recommend serving snacks on smaller plates, smaller bowls, using smaller cups, all these things, so that the kids think that it is like the smaller bowls or smaller plates are full rather than looking empty. When we talk about mindful eating, I think it's really important to make the food look pretty, colorful. We have, as I said before, there's a lot of psychological drive as to what we eat. And when you make something look pretty and colorful, the kids are much more interested in eating it. Really important to nutrition proof your home. You really want to stock your home with a variety of ready to eat healthy foods. You want to make sure those foods are right in front in either the pantry and in the refrigerator. I recommend putting fruits and vegetables in clear plastic containers because kids usually tend to snack on the first thing that they look at. And also, we want to make it easy for them to make good, healthy choices. We don't want to make it hard to do that. If they know that all of their favorite highly processed or ultra processed foods are available in the house, then you're creating an environment that's really less conducive to eating healthy. So again, we don't want to make it a forbidden food or a bad food, but it's more of a someday situation. Another important point about snacking at home is you really want to be a role model for healthy eating. Sit down, eat, snack with your kids. If you're serving them carrot sticks and hummus, sit down with them and eat it yourself because kids love to copy parents. And if you do it together, they're much more likely to continue doing it. The next thing I just want to mention is you want to make snack time really fun. Kids who help prepare healthy foods tend to like them more. So you really want to try to involve your child. I like using cookie cutters, making kebabs, using chopsticks with different foods, making funny faces using fruit. The next slide is a bunch of different pictures that I got from a website that I love, and I think that all of you should check out. It's called Super Healthy Kids, and their whole thing is making snack time fun. And if you kind of go through some of these pictures on the upper left hand corner, you can see just some fresh fruit with some sort of a dip. I like to dip like a yogurt dip and, put in, just dip their fruits in the yogurt. On the lower left-hand corner, you can see that little girl. She's making necklaces with grapes and strawberries and just having fun and playing with fruit. The more they look at it, the more they're going to want it. You can see a little pizza that's made from watermelon with yogurt and fruits on top. You can see some fruit kebabs, just little colorful bags of fruit. Watermelon, you can put them on a stick. You can freeze them and make ices out of them. They're delicious. And on the lower on the lower right-hand corner, you're going to see apple nachos. This is another fun idea. You can put some you can see some chocolates on it, some nuts, a little bit of caramel, which I think would be fine. And, all these ideas I think are great ideas. And this just goes with the idea of just making food fun. Some more pictures of having fun with vegetables. I love these ideas. You can just sit down and make art with your kids and, be eating them in between making them. And I just think it's good. So on the left, you see some pretty pictures, some art pictures. They're making some sort of a wrap with a rainbow, all kinds of vegetables on top. You can put it on like a healthy lavash with maybe some cheese on it, some cream cheese. And on the bottom, some ranch dressing with some vegetables. And these are just some ideas for you guys to do at home. And again, all these pictures came from Super Healthy Kids. Definitely should check this out. Okay, so let's get back to the talk. And I want to talk a little bit about what's the right time for a snack. I get asked this question all the time, like, when should my child have a snack? And I believe in intuitive eating. And, whenever your child tells you they're hungry, that's when you should give them a snack. And, there are no rules. There shouldn't be any rules of how many snacks somebody should have a day. I usually recommend somewhere between 1 or 2, depending upon the day. But, kids should be eating every 3 or 4 hours. So you can use your own judgment of when they last ate. As much as you can, like 2 or 3 hours before the next meal. That's probably the best time. But I do want to talk a little bit about like the routine that you put them in, which I think is important. But, again, I believe in intuitive eating. I don't want the kids grazing throughout the day. So, you really want to make a snack time, give them a healthy snack. We'll talk about my idea of a healthy snack, something that's going to fill them up, something that they're going to enjoy. But we don't want them having like a few grapes and then like 20 minutes later coming in for a cheese stick, and then like 20 minutes later coming in for more grapes. We want to kind of just make it like snack time. You have your snack, when you're hungry, you eat it, you get full, and then you go on to something else. Another thing I just wanted to mention is we need to make sure that our kids are hungry when they're having a snack. And I think it's fine if you ask them, like, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? And, ask them how they're feeling, because a lot of kids develop this emotional eating. They start developing the habits of eating when they're bored or when they don't want to do something and making it into activity. And, partly, I tell the parents, I don't like to blame anybody, but we really kind of condone this when they're young. And especially with, for example, if kids are at the park and they're fighting about a swing, a lot of parents, I know I was guilty about it also, to try to distract the kids. They say, okay, let's go get a snack right now to kind of distract them. And, we really want to be careful about doing that, because we're really teaching them to eat when they're not hungry, but when something doesn't go their way. I have my patients, they have a little "Are you hungry?" sign, just to remind them in the kitchen or on the pantry or on the refrigerator, just to remind them that, you should eat a snack when you're hungry. You shouldn't be making a habit of eating a snack when you're bored or at a certain time when they get home from school. We really want to make sure that kids are eating when they are hungry. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what is a good snack, or what is, I don't like to say good, but what's a right healthy snack. So again, I believe, and I mentioned it before, that snacks should be made up of real food rather than what the kids think is a snack food. So snack food, when I talk about snack food, I'm talking about the ultra processed foods that's made in a plant that usually come in boxes. And I would prefer the kids just to have real food. I recommend my patients have a combination of some sort of a protein with either a fruit, a vegetable, or whole grain. Again, it's not supposed to be a meal. It's supposed to be a snack. So, if somebody asks me how many calories a snack should be, I'm really not big on counting calories, but just to kind of give you guys an idea, a snack should probably be about 200 calories or so. A little bit of a protein and a little bit of either a piece of fruit, some veggies, or some sort of a whole grain. I recommend everybody read nutrition labels. You want to make sure your snacks aren't full of added sugars. You really want to limit the added sugars. I recommend making everything colorful because kids will be much more satisfied when they see lots of colors. Make sure that you are just be aware of any kind of a health claim on a snack or the words low fat or non-fat. A lot of times these snacks that are non-fat or low fat, they're higher in sugar. So you really want to make sure and take a look at the sugar content. Liquid snacks versus solid snacks. So our bodies respond to solid food differently than they do to liquid foods or liquid calories. We're much more satiated by something that is a solid food. So I recommend having some sort of food item. And again, I talked about it earlier. There are no food rules. There shouldn't be any rules around snacks, but for most days, or what I call the everyday snacks, I think some good examples are the picture on the right. You can see that each box has some protein, either some cottage cheese, an egg, nuts, hummus. Those are some of the examples of the protein, and they all have some vegetables and some fruits in it, some crackers also. And these are a little bit larger, but these are the types of snack foods that I would recommend more so than those ultra processed snacks. I just want to say something about the 100-calorie snack packs, because a lot of patients also come to me, having tried to get healthy on their own, and a lot of them are putting these 100-calorie snack packs in their snacks. And again, I don't want to say that it's good or bad, but it's not a snack that I would recommend. It's, again, these types of things are ultra processed, and I would classify the 100-calorie snack packs more of like a someday snack rather than everyday snack. You really want to focus on real food for snacks for your kids. When we talked about the right types of foods, and I think it's important also to talk about the right sizes, because even if you're eating the right foods, if you're eating too much of it, the calorie count can add up and the kids could end up overeating. So you really want to pay attention to size. Again, I mentioned that all snacks should have some sort of a protein component. I put in some examples of what the right size would be for peanut butter or any kind of nut butter. I usually recommend about a tablespoon worth, a cheese stick or a little bit of turkey, a quarter cup of nuts, a yogurt, fruit. When we're talking about fruit, just a regular piece of fruit or a cup of berries. We don't want the kids, a common mistake I see is that people are trying to get healthy and, they're excited that their child is eating fruit, but they're just eating way too much fruit. They're eating a big bowl of watermelon, or they're eating, like 5 or 6 halos at a time, or a whole quart of, or a large thing of strawberries. These things are great, but you really want to make sure you're having about 1 serving at a time. Vegetables are unlimited in my book. Vegetables are full of fiber, and they help keep you full. So I think if anyone's ever hungry, vegetables are the way to go. Any kind of a grain or a starchy vegetable, you really want to have like 1 slice or half a cup of any of these items. If your child wants to have some cereal with milk, I think that would be fine. But you want to limit the size. If child is pouring their own cup of cereal, they could make it 2 or 3 servings worth. So you really want to make sure it's about a half a cup's worth, maybe 3/4 of a cup. Most of the cereals, I tell my patients to look on the box. And again, and I mentioned it before, try to buy the individual packets whenever possible. It just helps with portion. I think today a lot of people suffer from what I call portion distortion, and they're eating the healthy foods, but they're just eating way too much of it. So you really want to pay particular attention to the size of the different snacks you're serving. All right, some more examples of proteins. I get asked this all the time. I put some pictures on here. Any kind of meat. I usually recommend a lean cut of meat, eggs, cheese, yogurts. The yogurts, a lot of the yogurts that are in the supermarket, you have to be careful for because a lot of them are really high in sugar. So you really want to go through and try to get some of the lower sugar brands. I happen to like Siggi's yogurt. I also like Icelandic Provisions. And Chobani has a lower sugar line that I like, but you want to make sure that you're not giving your kid a yogurt that has as much sugar as ice cream, and those are common. So just you want to look in the back of your yogurt, and you really want to find something with less than 10 grams of sugar. Sugar naturally has about 5 grams of sugar in even a plain yogurt. So if you're seeing about 10 grams of sugar or less than 10 grams of sugar, then it's like less than a teaspoon of added sugar for a yogurt. Some other examples of proteins are beans or lentils. I mentioned nuts before, edamame, tofu. All these would be good examples. Some more things from the picture, cottage cheese, chia pudding, roasted chickpeas. All these are really good sources of protein and I think would make a good snack for your child. So some more of my favorite snacks. I put 2 pictures here that I really like. I remember I grew up with ants on a log. That's on the upper right-hand corner. That's some peanut butter on celery with some raisins. Kids love this snack, and it's a great snack. Berries, a low-fat cheese stick. That's another one of my favorites. You can also put any kind of nut butter on an apple. Trail mix, but again, you want to limit the trail mix because you don't want to, trail mix, you can sit and eat a cup of it and enjoy it, but that's going to be way too much. So I usually recommend about a quarter of a cup. Any kind of Greek yogurt with fruits and nuts, crudité with either hummus, ranch dressing, or a Greek yogurt dip. One of my favorite dips for vegetables, and my patients really like it, is when you take plain Greek yogurt and you put in a Lipton onion soup mix into it. And it reminds me of when I was young, when I had like the sour cream dip with the potato chips. And it's really good. My patients love that. Bell pepper nachos, these are really good. And lastly, healthy pizza on a healthy tortilla. You could just put your favorite sauce on there, some mozzarella cheese on one of the low-carb pizzas. My favorites are the one from Trader Joe's, and it makes a really nice snack. You could put some vegetables on there, some olives, and it comes out really good. So I just want to talk a little bit about protein bars and granola bars, because this is another thing I get asked all the time about when we talk about healthy snacking. And my take on protein bars or granola bars is I don't particularly think that they are the healthiest snack. I definitely don't recommend them for every day. In my opinion, they're like glorified candy bars. So I just wanted to show you guys an example. A lot of my patients come to me and tell me that they're eating the Clif bars. I think they're marketed to kids, and a lot of the kids are eating the Clif bars thinking that they're doing the healthy thing. And I just wanted to compare that to a Snickers bar for you guys so you guys can understand what I'm saying. So you can see the Clif bar has 250 calories, where a Snickers bar has about 220 calories. You can see that the Clif bar has 44 grams of carbs, which is a pretty big amount of carbs, where the Snickers bar has only 29 grams of carbs. The Clif bar has 21 grams of sugars, and the Snickers bar has about 24 grams of sugars, which isn't much more. The Clif bar does have a little bit more protein compared to, under the Snickers, I wrote sugar twice, but it's 4 grams of protein. And the Clif bar does have a little bit more fiber. But the truth is, if you compare them, they're pretty much the same. And I think your kid would be much better off by just eating some real food rather than these bars. So, of course, because we're talking about snacking, I wanted to include some of my favorite healthy swaps that I recommend to my patients. And here's a little chart for you guys. On the left are the instead ofs, and on the right are the things that I'm going to recommend you change to. So, instead of chips, I recommend having air pop popcorn or nuts. Instead of candy, I recommend trying frozen grapes. Instead of ice cream, I recommend frozen yogurt bark. And for those of you who don't know what frozen yogurt bark is, you just take a yogurt, a lower sugar type of yogurt, and you put it on some wax paper and put some fresh fruit into it. And you really are going to flatten it out so it becomes like a flat pancake. Put it on a plate and then put it in the freezer, let it freeze for a few hours. And then you just break it up and it comes out looking like the bottom right-hand corner. It's really pretty and it's really good and it tastes like ice cream. Definitely recommend that. You can put some nuts in there or some unsweetened coconut on there. You can even put some dark chocolate chips on there and you have yourself a healthy snack. Instead of cheese nips, I recommend you having real cheese with some whole grain crackers. Instead of the frappuccinos or those sweetened ice cream sort of coffee drinks that they have at Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks and all the coffee places, I usually recommend my patients just order the flavored unsweetened iced tea when they go to these places. One of the examples of the yogurts that does have a lot of added sugars in it are those Chobani Flip yogurts. And I recommend if you eat those, you should try to change them to a lower sugar yogurt or skyr, which is very similar to Greek yogurt. And again, I mentioned it earlier, my personal favorite is the Icelandic Provision skyr. And instead of the sour cream dip, I would try the Greek yogurt dip, which I mentioned a few minutes ago, with the plain Greek yogurt and the Lipton onion soup mix. So let's talk a little bit about when you're snacking when you're not at home. Maybe you're at your child's game. Maybe you guys will be vacationing during the summer. Maybe you're with friends. Maybe you're at a pool party. So my advice to parents is really control what you can control. You don't want to make a big deal out of your, in front of your friends, in front of your child's friends, and in front of other people. Try to control what's in the house on more of like an everyday situation. If they're at a special party, let them be. We want to raise healthy eaters. We don't want to give anybody, we don't want to make kids feel uncomfortable for eating in front of either other kids or in front of you. So do the best you can do. If you're going on vacation, I usually recommend bringing some healthy snacks for the car. One thing, I really want to emphasize is that it's on for number 4, how should parents handle snacking when other kids are eating unhealthy foods? My advice is let them eat the unhealthy kids with your kids. There's nothing worse than a restrictive parent who's restricting food in front of another child. It's embarrassing for the child. And the studies kind of have proven that restriction causes disordered eating later. So you really don't want to make a big deal in front of other kids. That's not the time to teach your kid about healthy eating. How should parents handle a Dairy Queen trip with the baseball team after winning a game? You let your kid have the ice cream. And, again, you want to restrict where you can restrict. At home on a regular night, again, I don't believe that ice cream is an everyday food. It's a someday food, but the someday is definitely at the baseball. It happens after the winning the baseball game and with their teams, and that's the time you should allow it. And if you guys have any questions regarding these things later, I'll be happy to answer them again. One thing I will say is it's so important to develop healthy snacking habits when the kids are young. And again, I mentioned it earlier, our children are trained to think of a snack as the time to eat highly processed foods like cookies, chips, and goldfish. Just don't, if your child is young, try not to introduce it, try not to buy it in your house. Again, they are going to have it when they get to school and their friends are eating it. You don't have to say that it's bad. You can just say, we don't eat food like that in our household. You don't want to make it forbidden. You don't want to say that it's bad, because if you tell your child it's bad, then they're going to think that they're bad for eating it. And if they had it at their friend's house, they're going to be more, they're not going to want to tell you about it because they're going to think that if they ate something bad, that they did something bad. And kids want to please their parents and do what their parents want them to do. So you're setting them up for like behavior that they want to really try to hide from. So next slide, I want to talk about some interesting recent studies about snacking. So compared to the 1970s, we are consuming more calories and mostly at snack time. And it's because of the increase in all of these processed foods that we're seeing in the stores. Eating frequency doesn't affect weight, but the quality and quantity of food does. According to a recent Nielsen report, the top 3 snacks in North America are chips, chocolate, and cheese. According to DoSomething.com, Oreos are the most popular snack in New Jersey. According to Smarty Pants consultancy firm, Oreo was the top ranked snack and candy brand in the United States among children from 6 to 12 years old. And 85% of snacks from middle and high school vending machines are unhealthy. 42% were candy, 25% were chips, and 13% were sweet baked goods. So as I promised, a little acronym, snacks, and a little summary about what we talked about tonight. So smaller portions, remember a snack is not a meal. It should hold you over to the next meal. Not in front of the TV. We talked about not having any screens while eating because I want the kids to eat mindfully. Kids who eat in front of screens are not eating mindfully, and they tend to eat more and be less satisfied with what they're eating. Am I really hungry? Always ask your child, are they really hungry? Are you hungry or are you bored? You want them to choose real food. Again, some sort of a protein, some sort of fruit, vegetable, or grain. Kitchen is a good place to eat. That's where we want the kids to eat. We want them to sit down. We want them to take a few minutes, drink some water with their snack, make it so that they remember that they've eaten and they can move on with their day when they're done with their snack. And again, sit down, slow down, and enjoy. And that is the end. I'm going to just end with one little thing. Teaching your child to make healthy snack choices will help set them up for this, help set the stage for a lifetime of healthy eating. And that is the end. And I am happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Wonderful. Okay, we do have a few questions.
Sure.
So what if my 3-year-old is always hungry and always asking for snacks? She likes healthy snacks, but it is constant.
Okay. So again, you can't tell a child that they're, that they're not hungry. We don't know how they feel. And, it's a complicated question. Are they eating real foods or are they eating all these snack foods? That's the first thing I would think of, because again, if you're giving them the 100-calorie snacks, those things don't really fill you up. Also, you want to make sure that your meals are have some healthy fat in them, protein, like a little bit of everything in the meals. When a child has, for example, pancakes for breakfast, then they're probably going to be really hungry after a couple hours. And, so you really want to make sure that their meals, they're getting, like I said, each meal contains some sort of a protein, the right amount of a carbohydrate, which is a small amount of carbohydrate, and fruits and vegetables and healthy fats. That's really the major reason why kids are always hungry. They're just not eating the right foods. They're eating processed foods for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I would take a look at what they're eating for their meals and make sure that they're, making sure that they're having plenty of fruits and vegetables with fiber in them to make sure that they're filling up with those things.
Thank you. Okay. Another one came in. How do you get your child to enjoy healthy snacks? My 7-year-old is a very picky eater and does not enjoy eating fruits and vegetables. It is always a fight to get him to eat healthy.
Okay, so I think some of those pictures I had before, like try to involve him into it. I would ease your way into it. Have him eat with you. maybe go shopping with him, do a little at a time. I wouldn't make him feel bad for not doing it, praise any kind of good behavior, and I wouldn't make him feel bad for not eating those foods. So I do have a lot of patients that come to me not eating anything healthy, and we really ease it into them, and we find little things that they like and try to make it healthy. So for example, if they like peanut butter, and if they like a peanut butter sandwich, we can even start like a snack in the afternoon with like a slice of healthy bread with some peanut butter on it, with maybe some fruit. Start with what they like and just go slow. Also, it's really important for parents to remember that for a kid to start liking foods, it sometimes takes them like 10 to 15 times of trying it. So when you say that they don't like the healthy foods, you have to keep on offering it to them. And again, if you could even have a reward system with them. I find that works really well. Like if you would just taste something, you want to offer them something that they want, like some sort of a reward system. Every child is will respond differently to different rewards. So I know like my kids like all those video games. Unfortunately, they would love V-Bucks. So if I had a problem with my kids eating something healthy, I would tell them, like, if you eat 5 healthy foods, I'll give you something. And it doesn't even have to be, my kids respond to that when I have older kids, but when they were younger, it was like, oh, if you do that, like maybe you get an extra story with mommy when, reading at night, or you can go to sleep 15 minutes later, different, just things that kids want, or, you're going to be able to have a catch with daddy for an extra 15 minutes, something that they would really want to do. Some girls, the older girls, they want, like they want to do a facial, or, they want to get a manicure with their mom. I don't know. Every kid is different, but try to reward them for healthy eating. And really, if the whole family is eating this, and if you tell your child that the whole family is eating healthy, eventually they'll get it. When they're hungry enough, they'll get it. And I would just stop buying those things in the household, the other options. And, hopefully that, some of those things you'll be able to put into practice.
So you answered a bunch of the other questions in that. So that was awesome. Okay. Last one that is a little bit different. How do I help my teenager make healthy choices instead of forcing it?
Okay, so you can't. So you can't force your kids to do it. I mean, so you have to look at everyone is different. It depends on do they want to make a change? But once they're teenagers, it's really hard, because kids at that age, they're very independent. They want to make their own choices. So you have to approach it from like, do you want to be healthy? I don't know if that particular person who asked that question, if they have any medical problems. If they didn't have any medical problems and they were at a healthy weight and they were happy with their weight, it's really hard to force your child to do anything. But again, you want to make the environment conducive to healthy food. So you want to show them that you're eating those foods. Maybe you can help involve them into cooking foods, looking for healthy recipes for the family for dinner. Maybe you can go through like, healthier websites with recipes and help them make them a part of cooking. And I think that's the best, way to do it for the teenagers.
Great. Thank you so much. So that's the questions we have for tonight.